Well, Scott, we're checking out a Game Pass game, Back for Blood. We're reviewing Back for Blood. This has been out for quite a while and on Game Pass since launch. And to be fair, it had a bit of a rough start, but as of right now, where it's sitting, it's in a great place in my opinion. We recently reviewed the latest DLC, and with that, I mean, we had to just talk about Back for Blood. I mean, this game is in an awesome spot. So that's my personal opinion. What about you, hopping right into it?
Oh, it's been quite a ride. We've played it several times over. I think just you and I. I've played it with a couple other people as well, and it seems like every time you go back into it, there's something more that they've added or something new to experience. And that's kind of what keeps it swirling in my mind, because I liked the idea of the cards, the hives was what brought me back in, but there's a huge amount of game here aside from the hives. So it's exactly what you'd expect from Left 4 Dead. It may as well almost be the very same name, Left 4 Dead, but Back for Blood, it's a little bit of a play on it, but
yeah,
it perfectly accurately describes what that game is. As a Left 4 Dead title, you're moving through just absolute hordes of zombies. You're triggering some car alarms or some birds sometimes, and that causes some inter-team arguments sometimes in my case, because I promise you I didn't try to shoot those birds. But sometimes it happens. You get overwhelmed with different unique zombies, different types of zombies that come in and kind of change it up. So you have a lot to kind of deal with on your way through this map, and I had a great time with it. But how do you feel about the game? Because we have run through it a few times now.
Yeah, I think the weak point, and I'm going to just start with this because it's the story. I mean, the story and characters just feel very uninspired. Left 4 Dead had a very simplistic story, but the characters were memorable. Their voice lines were just perfect for that game. And Back 4 Blood, it's just such a cheesy kind of story. This whole military thing, it's just cliche and boring, and just these characters, man, I don't even remember any of their names really, honestly. There's Doc's the only one I remember, and that's because her abilities are the most useful. And I guess we can kind of get into that. Each character that you pick has a little set of abilities, whether it's like extra ammo or quicker aim down speed or extra healing, and this really does spice up the gameplay, because the gameplay is where it's at, man. You have to build a deck, and this is where there is so much potential for different builds. You can specialize in SMGs and pistols or shotguns, or specialize specifically in a bunch of healing perks. There are a ton of options, and as you kind of keep playing the game, you get these supply points, and that's where you just keep unlocking more cards and getting better ones as you go along.
Yeah, it really serves to give you an identity as a character besides all of the narrative or lack of narrative. You can pick your place. Our friend Lucas was the Doc healer, and I think he was almost every time we played. And knowing that he's on the team, well, I'll go LMGs, lay down that fire support. And you kind of pick certain roles that way, and that's where the gameplay really shines. If you're going to play this alone, it's not nearly the same experience. It will be still satisfactory in my opinion, but you're going to have to listen to those AI teammates, and you hit it right there with the cheese level, because their voice lines are quite bad. It's a personal pet peeve of mine where I hear these things they say, and it's always constant cringe. And I'm not sure if they tried to be kind of lighthearted, kind of humorous between characters. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just didn't stick. You're correct. I didn't remember any of the characters at all. They're just so interchangeable. They might as well not even have a face, and that's unfortunate. It is unfortunate in that there's no story that's very relevant, but then again, there doesn't necessarily need to be a story. with the gameplay that you're going through, you're just mowing down zombies, and it almost doesn't matter what's going on. And that's at least a selling point of the game. Despite its lack of narrative, that is the lowest point. It has just massive chaotic combat, and as you go through, you get into some varied sections. Whether you're defending the point, you're pushing forward, you're blowing up a ferry, you're doing all sorts of stuff. There's boss fights, and that's kind of where the memories really stand out to me. But there's a huge amount of action in this one, and a huge amount of depth. If you're one of those people that are gonna replay it, you're gonna have a good time, and it's not graphically led. The audio gets annoying in the case of voiceovers, but all said and done, I had a really good time with this game. I like the updates they've put forward, and I'm looking forward to more as they roll out. I'm really hoping for some more Hive-like material, but it was great for the action. I'm there with a 7.5 out of 10. I really wish there was just a little bit more that made me enjoy the world.
Well, man, I think you hit everything spot on. I'm right there with you with the 7.5. This game is just lacking. I know the story doesn't matter with this style of game, but the closest and most recent game that I played is Warhammer Vermintide 2. And I remember that story, and I remember those characters and all of those enemies. And that game will stick with me for the rest of my life, probably. This game, I don't remember any of the characters, so that's why it's going to get docked down. I think it could be a 9 if they maybe just put a little more care into the story and characters. Gameplay is tight with a unique upgrade and card system implemented, but unfortunately the characters and story make this a game you probably won't remember in 5 years.